certain that Chauvin and Floyd knew each other, because often over a dozen security guards working at the club on any given night might not have any contact with each other. Still, they did work overlapping shifts, and the fact that one man ended up killing the other should justify further investigation into whether or not the two had a prior relationship. That could potentially mean there was a deeper motive behind the murder. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
An alarming new study finds that people suffering from stress-related disorders react poorly to being trapped in underwater elevators. A tired 398-month-old throws a tantrum, and a little clay thing is purchased at an arts festival. And now an eerily perfect recap of this week's news. The Catholic Church reversed its long-held stance against gay marriage this week after meeting Connecticut couple Tony and Craig. The vacationing pair dazzled the Pope and assorted clergy with their witty conversation and true loving affection for each other, leading Vatican officials to conclude that love is love and it's silly to put restrictions on it in this day and age. The Chinese people announced that they would be willing to forgive most of the United States' $1.16 trillion debt if Americans agreed to dress up in costumes and perform silly dances for them. Chinese officials encouraged U.S. citizens to wear sequined vests and prance around while slapping their big fat American tummies, promising that the more humiliating the performance, the more debt will be erased. In sports, NASCAR fans are deeply puzzled by a mysterious black family seen attending multiple races.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And welcome to the show. It's Ian here.
And the captain.
And Mark.
Well, it has been a very interesting last few days. It's been an interesting year so far as things to talk about.
We're not even halfway through 2020 yet, so
yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, it's been a heck of a year, unfortunately.
Things, of course, we've been covering the coronavirus situation pretty in depth here on Free Talk Live, and specifically the loss of freedoms that have gone along with the coronavirus situation, because to me, that is the situation.
Yes.
Yeah. The situation isn't, oh my God, you might catch a cold or a flu and survive it, because you most likely will survive it.
Yeah, what are the newest numbers on that? Less than 0.5%?
Right,
contract it or
no, to the death rate.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously coronavirus has some the comorbidities, and there's some dangers to getting the virus that it don't result in death, but also those numbers that you're talking about, basically
they're pumped up.
Well, they're not. They may be pumped up.
They're paying them. They're paying them to find this.
But
thing.
I mean, if you just look at like the prisons, right, where they had like an outbreak and a bunch of people caught it for like a week, and then it just sort of like that's it, right? Not everybody in the prison got it. Not everybody came down with symptoms. A very small percentage of those people died. So if you look at that as an isolated microcosm of what it is, you're like, I feel exactly the same way about COVID-19 as I do about the flu as far as concern level, which is I'm not very concerned.
Well, I think that for one, our concern for the flu is inflated because I think the numbers coming out of the CDC, best I can tell, are inflated. So maybe you have the same level of concern. You probably should have the same level of concern for COVID as you do for the flu, but you probably shouldn't be as concerned about the flu as you are.
Shocking. Government would
But I'll say this. If you're not over 65 or 70 or something like this, COVID is probably something you should do. It's probably you should just isolate away from people that are that age. Is probably your
they
best
should
bet.
isolate it. That's that's what they want to do. So we've covered that in great detail, and it's interesting because that precipitated what came next, which came this week, which is these what I would call, I guess, continuing to spread riots.
Violent disturbances of the peace by crowds?
Yeah, that are happening in various cities across the United States.
Well, there's protests and riots, and in many cases they're going alongside each other and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, and
there's people protesting the riots. Like at home, you know.
That's not. I don't know if I'd count.
They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe these people are rioting, and this kind of a thing. And I'm like,
well, I can believe. I can believe people are rioting because you've got kind of a perfect storm of a situation here, right? So, in order to have a big protest, you need to have a bunch of people who have nothing else to do.
Yes.
Right. So if you have, remember Occupy when that happened back in 2011, New York City and other cities, Occupy Oakland and elsewhere. You had a bunch of people who came out and they occupied a park or wherever,
Wall Street,
wherever they occupied. In Oakland's case, they actually did trash the city hall, which that was pretty cool. But so people came out and they
and we all had more freedom afterwards, right?
No,
we didn't because this doesn't do anything.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that protests don't do anything.
I know you hate the government, and I'm certainly pretty anti-state myself. But trashing the town hall or the city hall isn't going to do anything.
I will say one thing about at least the protests that have occurred, in the last 24 hours, right?
Yes.
Particularly the Minneapolis ones, and then what folks online are calling the Minneapolis virus, where it's spread to other cities. Same type of thing. I will say that the one thing that, in my mind, positively has come out of this is that every American person, and that's, in the geographic area of the United States, every American person is now aware that police stations can be overrun and overtaken just by a matter of sheer quantity of people.
And time.
Every one of them, every police station, everywhere, in every city and every town can be taken over by sheer force of will, number of people.
So doesn't that counter what you just said, that protests don't do anything? Because in this case, they burned a police station in Minneapolis, precinct number 3, when that place got set on fire. I think it was 2 nights ago.
The roof is on fire.
I was like, wow, okay, something different is happening here. This has gone to a new level as somebody who has, observed a number of and participated in a number of protests, quite a few, over my years as an activist.
But no riots. You did film a riot
I don't
once.
participate in riots. I'm not going to destroy private property. I'm not interested in that. And unfortunately, that is the real downside to all these
there hasn't been that much comparative to much
that much what?
Destruction of private property compared to
I heard, and I don't know if this is true.
Okay.
So please feel free to check this claim. But people who are watching this stuff over, like, there's some chat channels where the libertarian activists here in New Hampshire have been kind of posting, this is happening over here, this is happening over here. Somebody said there were 170 buildings that were destroyed to some extent. I don't know how much they were destroyed.
All
I don't know.
I've been hearing about is that, like,
in St. Paul,
the state capitol has been under siege. The police stations are under siege. So apparently,
in Minneapolis, just while I was watching. Okay, and I was watching the Unicorn Riot feed on YouTube, which is one of the more popular lefty kind of live stream channels. They torched, and I'm going to forget all of the buildings, but they torched an AutoZone. They torched a liquor store. And looted, of course, a liquor store. They torched.
I hope they looted it before they torched it.
There was one guy actually
liquor stores burn real good.
Yeah, they do.
One guy actually died inside because he wanted the best liquor, so he went down into the basement and got caught inside the store. It's hard to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him.
But they torched. Let's see what else. The next day, the news came out that they had torched a local restaurant. Today, the news came out that they torched a local bookstore.
Point made.
They
I'd like to
destroyed
make a point.
Target as well. There was actually video of a guy.
Not before they got some televisions.
There was actually a video. Yeah, they looted the hell out of Target. Yeah. They actually had video of a guy driving around inside the Target. They busted the doors down. The protesters had busted the doors down, and then some dude went in there and was literally driving around in the destroyed Target. And he actually comes out in the video and comes out the exit doors. So it's been a pretty crazy situation, and there's been a ton of private property destruction.
Point taken. All right, so...
And that's just Minneapolis.
There are riots going on, there are protests going on, and same time and all that stuff. Tell me about the other riots that have occurred in history that have in the United States that have resulted in what they have resulted in. So what did Occupy Wall Street result in?
Okay, so if you want to talk generally about the ineffectiveness of protests, I will generally agree with you that it is a way, a protest is just a way, which some become riots, some don't. But a protest is just a way for
let's
people...
take the riots. I mean, let's talk about burning a whole bunch of buildings down. What does it result in? I mean, it went on to the Rodney King thing, the Watts riot. I mean, these things.
This is like the Rodney King thing, except bigger, because Rodney King was just Los Angeles, right? That was just that place.
It's going to a bunch
and
of
now you're seeing this happen in a lot of places. Now, I don't think anybody has set any other police departments on fire,
which is really sad to hear
that they haven't set.
Right, because I think the one thing that set this one apart from the other ones that you mentioned just now, Mark, is that. And you pointed this out last night when we were chatting, Ian, that this is the first time that they actually targeted the organization responsible.
Of all the riots I've ever seen, yes, at least in the United States, this is the first time I've seen that.
They were literally rioting as a result of the murder of George Floyd. And we should mention his name, because that's what this is all about. That's what sparked these protests and the resulting riots. The murder
and it was a spark,
of George Floyd.
But it was also other murders that had gone on by the police over many, many years.
Of course. And this is just another one.
That are largely unfounded, too. I mean, there are plenty of stuff that people have gotten upset about, and you'll find out later, that I think that guy was just a criminal, and so, I mean, there's some legit cases out there. George Floyd sounds like one of them. But there's also some pretty illegitimate stuff out there with grievances that, that's not a very good
Well, that
grievance.
doesn't matter, Mark. There's a ton of people who have been murdered at the hands of the police, and people are rightfully upset about it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and you've got this perfect storm of folks who don't have anything better to do, and they're really mad, and they're going out. More coming up. Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration. and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, if we get the chance, there's some pretty big news out of the Supreme Court, and it's not good when it comes to your right to assemble in a church under these governor's crackdown orders that we've been hearing about. So that's definitely an important story, and it is worth covering. But also the most important story that I would say tonight and the last few days are the ongoing protests/riots that are happening now in various cities across the United States. We'll get deeper into that here in just a moment. Mark has brought up the age-old question of, are protests worth it? Do they really accomplish anything? So we can certainly address that.
To an extent, they are just an appeal to authority, right?
Are
to
they?
An extent.
I mean, it depends. It depends. Certainly a lot of these
If you go far enough, it goes beyond an appeal to authority to simply as a sort of a statement or warning about, if we, in this case, I mean, what's going on here is that apparently these riots, I don't know what else to call them, are spreading, and businesses are being, the police stations are being besieged in Brooklyn.
That happened last night.
That's true.
So let's go to your calls and thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. They also even breached the state house in Ohio a couple nights ago as well. There was glass broken by protesters there. So,
by the way, the glass companies are going to be doing really good after this.
We go to your calls and thoughts. Let's talk first to Patricia. She is on the line in Virginia Beach listening to WNIS. Go ahead, Patricia.
Hi, am I on the air?
I apologize. You're listening on Twitch. You are on the radio for now. Go ahead with your thoughts. Hello, Patricia going once, Patricia going twice. Well, that didn't go very well for you. Let's go to Jerome listening in Charleston, South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello.
Oh, I'm here.
Hey, Jerome, what's on your mind?
Did you see about Minnesota? What's on my mind? Hey, our cops like celebrities. Hey, our cops celebrities because Trump said when you're a celebrity, you get away. They let you get away with it.
Great point. Yeah.
Are they gonna let him get away with this?
Doesn't look like
He's
it.
a cop. Huh?
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, Jerome, to your point, my take on this whole situation is, why in the hell does it take a riot for a policeman to become arrested?
Look, I'm a child in the 50s, okay, from the 50s, okay? I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie before.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you have.
And we know what happens. Even though they arrest the cop, doesn't mean that they will convict the cop. The arrest is just to try to placate people. It's like, okay, all right, we'll arrest him. Okay, don't burn down any more police stations. We'll arrest him. Yep. We're going to prosecute him. And then later, he ends up getting found innocent or not guilty. Gets found, that's likely what's going to happen here. Maybe they will send him up the river just because they're so afraid of the protesters and such, but it's too little too late. This system needs to fall. Go ahead, Jerome.
They're going to send him up the river because he's guilty as sin. And Maxine Waters was right. He did enjoy the look on his face seemed to show that he did enjoy murdering him like that.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
He's a sicko. That's
I
why
saw
he
the
took
picture
the
of-
job, Jerome. He's a sick effer who wants to hurt peaceful people, and he gets pleasure. By the way, this particular cop, the one that committed one of the 3 or 4 or whatever who committed the murder, because apparently there were 2 other cops that were leaning on the guy as well in various different ways, or holding him down.
I just want to know, Amy Klobuchar, this man had 18 complaints against her.
Right, that was what I was going to say.
18! And she did nothing about it.
Who the hell is Amy Klobuchar? Didn't she run for president or something?
Yeah, she's going to be one of the. Maybe she'll be one of the candidates.
What was she supposed to do?
Biden's
Hold on. What are you saying she was supposed to do? Was she like in charge of the police department there or something? Like what's
She was, I don't know, Attorney General. She had some very powerful position in
Minnesota?
Yeah, she was
okay.
responsible for sending people, help prosecuting people. This guy had 18 complaints. And I'm telling Joe Biden right now, if you pick her as your running mate, you can kiss my vote goodbye.
Well, let me ask you about Kamala Harris, because I was just talking about Kamala Harris last night. How many, she was the AG for California, right? Like, how many unarmed black men, Jerome, do you think were killed under Kamala Harris's watch?
I have no idea.
I bet it's a good number.
Yeah, I bet you it's some.
There.
It's California.
Well, where was it? How many cops got 18 complaints against them while she was in office that she let slide?
I don't know. There's probably plenty of cops that have complaints. This is the old game. Jerome, you know that police get complaints against them all the time, and not a damn thing is done. Not in Minneapolis, not in California, not in Boston, not in New York City, because the police are a gang. They're a criminal gang, and they're protected.
They're a club, and you're not in it. And it doesn't have to do with color, Jerome. There's some color that's involved here. I'm not going to claim that I would like to be a black man getting arrested or anything like that, but I will go ahead and say that, like Kamala Harris is part of that club.
Hey, Jerome, did you go out? Is there anything going on in Charleston in South Carolina?
Hey, you won't see me at any doggone pool parties, I can promise you that.
Didn't somebody get strangled at a pool party? What happened with the pool party? You got to help me out.
No, there was some guy, somebody tested for positive for the COVID-19 at one of those pool parties. Was in Missouri last week.
Oh, okay.
You saw that?
No.
And now they got to quarantine. They got to find out who else is tested positive. Because some of those crazy fools were saying, if you get sick, hey, so what?
Hold on, Jerome. Are you saying that you wouldn't go to a protest in Charleston just because you're afraid of COVID?
I wouldn't go to a pool party.
Okay, but I'm asking about protests, not pool parties.
If I go, I'm keeping my distance.
Is there anything going on though? Have you heard anything happening in Charleston?
Yeah, there was some protests today.
Today, okay. Yeah, because there was a lot going on today. Thank you for the call, Jerome. I appreciate it. I went to the one in Manchester, New Hampshire today, which was, I got to say, larger than I thought it was going to be. It's New Hampshire, right? It's a small place.
Yeah.
The protests that happened in favor of reopening New Hampshire, that Captain, you went to one of those with me.
I did.
That was, maybe 400 or 500 people at the State House, which I consider to be big for New Hampshire. It was certainly, at the time, the largest that I'd been to at that State House. This protest was maybe 2 or 3 times the size of that one.
Wow.
There were a lot of people that came out today. I'd say well over 1,000 people. Enough people to stretch the complete length of the block. So as they were walking or marching around the block, by the time they came back around to the other side of the block, there were still marchers that had just been leaving the park on the opposite side. So they literally stretched the entire block. Now, it's not the hugest city block in the world, but it's no slouch. It's a large park. Anyway, there were probably 1,000 to 1,500 people at this event.
That's a turnout.
And one of the reasons I wanted to go, beyond just the fact that I support ending the state and protests like this are a good thing, was because I don't want to see private property destruction happening. Now, I'm just one guy, but if we could bring enough liberty-minded folks, people who care about private property rights, which libertarians tend to, if we can bring enough of them to this event and we can be interspersed within the crowd, then maybe that could help de-escalate a situation from becoming destructive.
It would help if they didn't inject agent provocateurs into the situation as well.
I would say that if there
can't
were...
prevent that, but there is a bunch of evidence supporting that in Minneapolis.
Yeah, oh yeah. We can talk about that if you want to make a note. We can come back to the agents provocateur because there was some pretty firm evidence that the guy that broke the AutoZone window in Minneapolis was a cop.
Mm-hmm.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, dressed in all black, of course. 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want. Share your thoughts on the riots.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box. So it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here tonight, it's Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass.
And Mark. Sorry.
Jumping the gun there.
I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Do I want to tell you about Intercoin? Intercoin enables some things that I like the sound of. A lot of these protests and demonstrations and things, these systems, they aren't broken. They're working the way they're supposed to work. And if you want something better, you got to build a new system. Intercoin's programmable coins are designed to help people raise money for new projects or initiatives in a way that is compliant with regulations. Coins can represent securities that obey individual rules, like not being sold to U.S. residents for 40 days, or purchase coins can contain rules that govern how they are to be spent and when they're to be cashed out. And Intercoin itself is designed to provide full, trustless liquidity between any currency pairs, removing the need to list coins on exchanges to enable secondary trading. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and here in real life, and we think that's important here on Free Talk Live. So important that FTL accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. And if you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. That's INTER, intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. It's intercoin.org.
All right, so we can tell you more about some of the various protests / riots that are going on across the country, but it'd be better if you told us about it. Are you out there?
Yeah.
Are you, in the midst of some of these things that have been going on, that in some cases have resulted in police departments being breached?
What have you seen, listeners?
Or even set on fire, as happened in Minneapolis. Now, I don't know if a second police department has yet been burned, but boy, if they can burn a second one, then that'll be a trend, and things will get really interesting. In fact, things are already pretty interesting given what has gone down in the last few days. All of this, of course, following the madness and the crackdowns from COVID. You've got a bunch of people who are frankly, bored. They've been
unemployed.
Unemployed in a lot of cases. They don't
40 million people newly unemployed in the last 10 weeks.
There's a lot of people who literally have nothing better to do, who are upset in a lot of cases, and rightfully so for various different reasons. And you know what? Here's an opportunity to go out and do something. Now, will it make a difference? Will it end or change the system? One thing's for sure, in Minneapolis, they definitely decided to arrest that cop when they previously had not made that decision. After it seemed awfully coincidental that the next day after they set their police department on fire, that the guy got arrested, because previously they had like a phalanx of cops guarding that man's house, by the way. So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. 855-450 free like freedom. We'll go to your phone calls where Robert is on the line, also listening in Charleston, South Carolina, to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that, Martin Luther King was a very smart man. He realized that the best way to do something is with peaceful demonstrations. You start burning and pillaging, you're going to have a tremendous number of people who are not going to take that in stride, and they will return the fire. You'll have fire coming from both sides. That's not the way to do it. And as a matter of fact, it destroys the cause. Okay, maybe the next day they did arrest the guy, but they were probably going to arrest him anyhow. I mean, there was enough on those four cameras that were photographing the situation, so that there's very little chance he would have not been arrested.
Well, we don't know. I will say,
compare the realities.
I like the notion of what you're saying, but up to the point of what you just said, we just don't know, and that's the problem. Is we can't make a scientific comparison. There's no control group here to see whether things would have happened or not. There have been arrests. There have not been arrests.
Well, there certainly have been a myriad of police killings over the years where there haven't been an arrest.
Right. Well, yeah, but there doesn't need to be an arrest in every killing, and that's one of the problems.
Well, if somebody kills an innocent person, then there probably should be an arrest. Well, and there's been a myriad of them where they have not.
Innocent's difficult to nail down.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Moment, and even the next day, it could be totally different. And those things evolve slowly.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to have you, Robert, who's called this show before and basically filleted the police on the air here on Free Talk Live. It doesn't surprise me that you would call in to say, oh, don't you dare, you're so ineffective, don't burn down the police station. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if the station is empty, burn it down. And that's actually what they did, because they waited until the police evacuated the station. The police had gone up to the roof of the Minneapolis 3rd Precinct Department. They had fired on the crowd from the roof with, rubber bullets or whatever, so-called non-lethal things, which many of those can do some pretty significant damage to a human body.
You know who?
And then they bailed out. They got the orders to leave the building. They climbed in all their police cruisers. There's video footage as they're leaving the facility where they actually bust through their own fence because there's like a fenced gate there or whatever. They bust through the gate. They don't even bother to try to open the thing. Take off down the road. And then the protesters got inside and proceeded to breach through the entire building. They, from what I understand, they were initially held up by whatever security measures there are inside these institutional facilities. But somehow they got through all that. And there's a point in the night where I was watching live at like 2 a.m. or something like that, where you can see the protesters made it to the roof of the building. So they totally went in that place and got full access, it seemed, to the entire building. Now, I don't think they torched the entire thing because the fires seemed to be relatively small, but it definitely did some serious damage to that particular institution.
So, Robert, to Ian's point, is there a point where violence should be used in protest to one's government? Because the nation is founded on that.
No, there's no need for that.
Okay.
It's counterproductive. It's always counterproductive.
Well, I don't disagree with you there because I'm
not sure it's always counterproductive. You are living in a country where it literally produced a new country.
Yeah, and thank you.
I'm not saying again that this is a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to say violence is not a good idea generally. I'm opposed to it, and I thank you, Robert, for your call tonight. I was having a conversation today with a young lady asking me questions about New Hampshire declaring independence because I had a bunch of.
I wonder what the French would think about saying that the violence never produces anything.
Well, ultimately, if violence are your seeds, then that is what you're going to reap later on.
The only thing the state does is violence or the threat of violence and coercion. So the only way to combat that is to equal the threat of violence.
I don't know.
Well, I don't agree necessarily with that. I think that peace is the best.
If the government is afraid of the people in the same way or more than people are afraid of government, then you might have a shot at producing some change.
And there's an argument
to
be had with the fear thing, right?
Yeah.
So there have been riots in the past, and we don't know what the world looks like without them. There are no control groups. Yeah. We don't get to say that the government grew more or less or whatever, but there is certainly an underlying threat that at some point or another there will be violence if the government continues basically amounts to bad customer service.
If these people, and by these people I mean the protesters and rioters, right? If they want to affect change, then I think something like burning down a police department after it's been evacuated is a good start.
It'll get your attention.
But they should be doing other things, and we've suggested as much previously on previous shows, like, surrounding your mayor's house. Just surrounding it, not doing anything, just surrounding it. Letting them know that you're there and you're not going to put up with the BS that's going on.
Which is why this mayor in Minneapolis sounds so good, right? I don't know if you've heard any of the quotes from the guy, but he sounds like he's got he's got his S together. He's got a level head about this issue. He's with the protesters on the George Floyd thing and, wants to see some sort of justice or whatever. That's because he doesn't want the protesters showing up outside of his house. He's no fool.
He wants to get reelected, too.
Oh, God, if I can focus these protesters' anger on the police rather than my house, then he feels like that's a good thing to do. So he's going to do it. That's the politically expedient thing for him to do. But one of the things I was telling this person that at the protest today was, I'm not quite a pacifist. She was talking about pacifism, and I said, well, I generally am against violence, with the exception of defensive
defense,
right, or defense of another person or whatever. And I gave her an example about that. And but I don't consider burning a police station down to be violence. That's you're just retaking the thing that they stole from you.
Yep.
They stole the money.
Yeah, but they stole it from everybody.
That's okay. You got a claim to it. If you want to burn it down, do it. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It is an institution of violence, and the fire and the flames is a way to combat that peacefully. More coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax tax amnesty created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Get healthy, not high, with 100% pure CBD powerful natural pain relief from Veterans Vitality. GCN listeners, have you ever thought about how CBD may help you? I'm sure you have heard about the many benefits of CBD. Well, here's your opportunity to try before you buy. Created by veterans and for everyone who deserves better choices, our CBD is derived from organic hemp, grown in the USA and third-party tested. Veterans Vitality CBD saves you as much as 25 to 50% over our competition, and a portion of all sales is contributed to veteran nonprofits and events. Many of our customers have experienced improved quality of life, help with anxiety, PTSD, and overall well-being. Our products do not contain THC. They are safe, non-addictive, effective, and 100% legal. GCN listeners, get your free trial bottle of premium CBD by simply paying shipping and handling at GCNFreeCBD.com. That's GCNFreeCBD.com. Again, GCNFreeCBD.com. Offered by Veterans Vitality Premium CBD.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required, only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live.
I said he was working for
You
criminals.
called him a criminal, did you not?
No, I don't
he
think
might have
so.
just been a sucker.
He said he was working for liars and thieves and criminals. Isn't that what we would call politicians?
They've been crooked since the dawn of time.
Agreed. So let me ask you, what is somebody who takes money to kill at the behest of liars and thieves? What do you call that person? Because a veteran is the one who called in and boxed us in the corner on this in the past. I don't have an answer to that question. That sounds very nice, at least. Do you?
Truthfully, no, I really don't have an answer to that
Me
question
either.
except to say he was doing his job.
Well, I mean, that's what they said at the Nuremberg trials, right? We were just following orders.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The Captain.
And Mark.
So we've been talking about the ongoing and spreading protests / riots.
Are the riots phase 2 or phase 3 of the reopening process?
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard to reopen a business after it's been torched to the ground. And, of course, that's the real downside of these riots. Is they're just, in some cases, these are crowds of people who are looking to just destroy anything at all. They are indiscriminate in what they target. they just want to see something burn. And it's sad because, as you pointed out earlier, Captain Kickass, finally the protesters in Minneapolis got it right and targeted the actual, organization that they should have targeted, rather than the liquor store, the Indian food restaurant, and several other businesses. They actually went after the police department and successfully breached, made the cops leave the place, and burned it. I wouldn't say down, but they did set it on fire.
It's funny because people on almost any point of the entire political spectrum almost uniformly agree that there's something wrong with cops, there's something wrong with police, that they do bad things.
Jeez, I don't know about that, but all right.
I find very few people who are like, except for maybe the one caller, who are like, oh, the cops are great, I love cops. I find very few people who aren't.
Well, maybe the circles.
Aren't there like the Cop Lives Matter flags out there?
Yeah, they're out there.
I don't know.
The circles you run in, Captain.
Yeah, it must be. It must be.
There's the cops, and there's the friends of the cops, and there's the families.
But what I'm saying is that,
excuses here is that it's a few bad apples. But remember, the whole saying is a few bad apples spoils the bunch. And the concern here is that not that there are a few bad apples, because there's going to be a few bad apples in every organization. The question is what do you do as an organization to weed out those apples?
They haven't done anything.
And and then that's what happens.
They promote these people.
You have and often that's the case, right? And that's what happens when you have an organization that's unaccountable. And that's almost the definition of the government. Like cops have what's some kind of immunity? Is it limited?
Qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity. Now,
which is just cases, another BS term for, let him get away with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, would you want qualified immunity for your taxi driver or the person who takes care of delivering water to your, the water treatment plant?
You mean if they run somebody down in the...
Well, I mean,
course of their duties?
If the water treatment plant guy drops, way too much bleach or arsenic or whatever into the water and kills, 1,000 people, hey, accidents happen. No, I mean, you want responsibility for people, and people who have responsibility tend to act better. I've heard the notion that and I kind of like it, is that, hey, take these police brutality settlements out of the cops' pension, and I'll bet you there'll be a heck of a lot less problems. And I agree that the protesters protesters going after private businesses and burning them down really aren't doing anything to make the world a better place.
No,
but
they're destroying their own neighborhoods.
I am skeptical that going after the police stations are going to do anything but make radical libertarian talk show hosts giddy with glee.
Oh, well, there's a lot of people who are happy to see that. Let me tell you, when that police department was on fire a couple of nights ago,
there's some people that just want to watch the world burn. You're right.
And they busted out the popcorn.
No, there's some people who specifically wanted to see that happen. It was like a real moment for the neighbors across the street. They're a group of liberty-minded folks here. They were out on their porch celebrating that when it happened. There was a lot of people, I think, around the United States and probably elsewhere in the world who were very, very happy to see that police department get lit on fire.
All I did was shake my head. Because I don't think this is a solution to anything.
Well, I don't
what
think
else would you propose?
I'm telling you, you cannot stop the state. The state's what happens?
So what? Do nothing?
Wait, just a second. I'm going to tell you what happens. Is the government always eats itself. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger until finally it collapses. The best thing you can do is move. If you're getting poor customer service from the government that where you live, you got to leave and go someplace else.
Where do you go? Every place has a government.
Sadly, I think that some are better than others. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
And
but they're still hurting peaceful people everywhere on the planet.
We're working really hard to make freer places all the time. And I think what happens, libertarians.
No, they're not.
I'm trying my best.
I'm going to say voting every 2 or 4 years ain't working real hard.
That's not what I'm claiming.
Well, that's what most of them do.
I'm working with a project right now to open up a free
You are working hard, then fine. I'll believe you on that.
Libertarian involved in this.
But most of them don't do anything except for run for a political office once every 2 to 4 years where they are.
Burning down the police station isn't going to do anything either.
I didn't say those people were libertarians.
They're not creating more liberty.
Well, I don't know about that. If you get the cops to exit a particular area and not come back, then wouldn't that give that place more liberty?
They're coming back.
Ultimately, it's the politicians, right? They're the ones who create the laws. The police departments simply enforce the laws that the politicians create. And so if the anger...
If that were true, I wish that was true. Police go to testify against bills all the time. They give their opinion on these things, and often, and rarely do I ever see a police officer at the State House testifying for more freedom for people.
Right.
I mean, it's a personality type, and the personality type is... that just simply likes control. They're a control-oriented personality type.
So the police enforce the laws that the politicians
Well, you said
create.
they simply enforce, and they don't simply enforce.
I mean, I guess I'm oversimplifying.
They advocate for more laws.
I don't know
That's
about
true.
that.
They do.
Oh, yes, they do.
They frequently go to testify at the State House to have more laws.
The reason that marijuana remained illegal in this country for as long as it did largely had to do with police unions and organizations of police commanders.
Even more evidence that it's a horrible organization type.
Yeah, and something people, unfortunately, Mark, most people aren't going to do what you're suggesting, which is to say pick up their lives and move.
Yep.
And even if they do, there's still going to be violent cops where they are. Even in Manchester, New Hampshire, which most assuredly is a more or a less violent place generally than some of the bigger cities in the United States, there's still some violent cops there. There's still some cops who've killed some people. There's still there have been some situations where Manchester police have locked down swaths of the city under total police lockdown. In just the last decade.
If the response to one police officer's misbehavior is...
You're talking about this situation? There were at least 4 officers involved in that killing.
They were there, but I mean, the one guy killed him, right?
Well, there are actually, at least according to another video that has surfaced, 2 of the other officers were assisting in holding the man down, which may have contributed to his death. And the fact is, if they stand there, even if it was just one man doing it, and the other 3 were just standing and watching, then it would be completely outrageous for those 3 to just stand around and do nothing when they could have been like, whoa, hey, you've gone too far. Pulled the dude off of him and arrested him without any kind of violent incident like that.
I think what's going on here is that likely, I mean, I've seen this knee on the upper back thing a great deal, and the difference between upper back and neck isn't too far, plus the fact that, this happens a lot and people don't die.
Are you going to try to say this was an accident? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it was an accident, and you don't either.
Well, from what people have said, they said it looked like murder to them.
If you
look, that's the reason we have a court system, is so that we don't have to listen to morons who say it looks like murder. We have a judicial system to determine whether it's murder or not.
Yeah.
And
you got a guy telling you he can't breathe.
I hear you, man.
And the dude stays on him for what was it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
For better or worse, police are trained to not listen to people that they're arresting.
Well,
and
then
the reason that they're not
those
listening,
cops should be lucky they're alive right now, and they're lucky that the people haven't gotten so pissed off that they got in there and murdered that cop before he could kill that other guy.
I'm sure that some people would like to do that. And the judicial system is created to protect criminals, not to protect the society or anything like that.
Well, the judicial system is protecting criminals in the case of protecting the police from any kind of responsibility for their murders that they're committing. I mean, for you to sit there and defend this situation is ridiculous. Those cops are just as guilty. Even if they didn't squeeze the life out of that man's throat, they are just as guilty as that cop who did, because if they did was just stand by and watch, they are accessories to that murder. Arguably, they are guilty of felony murder simply because they were there and did nothing.
That you would have to prove that those people knew that guy was killing that guy. And I'm not entirely clear.
Let's play the supposition game real quick, because I just want to make this point. If you, me, and Ian went out tonight, we left the studio at downtown Keene here in the town square.
I'm not claiming that we get the same sort of justice the cops
and
do.
we had somebody videotaping us the whole time.
Yep.
And we found somebody, we held him down to the ground, and one of us kneeled on his neck until he died. How long before all 3 of us were arrested?
It wouldn't take long at all. There is certainly a different level of justice for police than there are for the rest of us.
My point is that why does it take a riot for this one officer, one of the 4,
it's a great question,
to become arrested?
Right, the arrest didn't occur ahead of time, and I don't know. I would say that yes, the chances are good that that guy is probably going to get convicted of something, and probably should be. But I don't know about the rest.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want, and you can take control of the airwaves. Hour number 2 is next. We got plenty of time for you and your thoughts. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,735, silver at $18.34, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,422. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, millions of Americans feel like the country is drifting precariously close to the point where social cohesion unravels. What's the Minneapolis Police Department solution? Arrest a team of journalists live on air. The same police department that hired the officer who cruelly and arbitrarily murdered George Floyd has responded to the intensifying media coverage of the riots that are now beginning to spread across the U.S. with what some might describe as Stalinist tactics. The Free Thought Project reports CNN tweeted a photo of reporter Omar Jimenez being taken into custody in the middle of the live report.
I'm sorry? You're under arrest. Okay. Do you mind telling me why I'm under arrest, sir? Why am I under arrest, sir? Officer's with CNN and he's on the air right now.
The video was captured by the crew while they were being arrested. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told CNN Worldwide President Jeff Zucker he deeply apologizes for what happened. The crew has since been released from custody. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. In a tweet around midnight Friday morning, President Donald Trump took to his Twitter account and threatened to begin extrajudiciously executing protesters suspected of looting in Minneapolis. The Free Thought Project says it's an unprecedented move by a president and speaks to the nature of the current situation in the United States. Stealing a TV from Target does not warrant a death sentence, especially without due process. After Trump made the threat, Twitter hid the tweet behind a warning on Friday, accusing Trump of breaking its rules by glorifying violence. # However, it's so much more than glorifying violence. It's advocating for the extrajudicial slaughter of hundreds of people over property damage. Trump, in his tweet, said, quote, "These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts." End quote. A bizarre twist in the murder of George Floyd was reported on Thursday night, as a former club owner in South Minneapolis revealed that Floyd worked at her club as a security guard, alongside recently fired police officer Derek Chauvin, the man who killed Floyd. Club owner Maya Santamaria says that the two both worked the same security shift at El Nuevo Rodeo Club on Lake Street before the business was sold a few months ago. The Mind Unleashed reports that Santamaria said she can't be certain that Chauvin and Floyd knew each other, because often over a dozen security guards working at the club on any given night might not have any contact with each other. Still, they did work overlapping shifts, and the fact that one man ended up killing the other should justify further investigation into whether or not the two had a prior relationship. That could potentially mean there was a deeper motive behind the murder. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Are you a helpless moron perplexed by the world? Wish there was a device that enabled you to consult the Onion Book of Known Knowledge anytime, anywhere? Then you need the Bookbjorn, the amazing new wearable invention that makes you and the Onion Book of Known Knowledge inseparable. Never again be stumped by the panoply of bizarre objects filling your field of vision. Never take it off. Never be without it. All this for just 4 easy payments of $39.93. The Bookbjorn. The Bookbjorn. And if you call now, you'll receive the special page-turning wand. Turn pages with the greatest of ease. The special reading light to wrench knowledge from utter darkness. The book umbrella to protect the Onion Book of Known Knowledge's precious pages from the elements. Bookbjorn. This $800 value can be yours today. Send a check or money order to the Bookbjorn, care of the Zwiebel Center for Knowledge Studies, 15 Zwiebel Way, Macau, China. Do not hesitate. Buy now. The Bookbjorn.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Lots of people with comments on the ongoing protests, some of them becoming riots around the United States. Is this the beginning of the end for the United States as we know it? Well, that's an optimistic viewpoint, and it's hard to be optimistic these days.
I mean, in the cycle of empires, sure. Right?
Oh, yeah, it'd be really great if the United States falls and China or Russia take over.
Oh, come on. You know that's not likely to occur.
What?
Well, also,
yeah,
I don't think that would be great,
war?
but, you know.
No, you were just talking about the United States falling. What do you mean by that?
Meaning the United States would end, and then we would have 50 states. After that, each individual countries that some might gather together. You might have the West Coast Pacifica or whatever. It would be California, Washington, and Oregon.
Gotcha.
And,
so there might be some federations or confederations that
who knows what it would look like. But it's certainly not going to be the Russians invading the United States.
No, it likely wouldn't. It would just be China grabbing basically most of the globe.
My opinion would be that the, quote, fall of the United States, unquote, would look a lot like the fall of the former Soviet Union. Right, they break into smaller countries. You know, they federate to get just like you said. That's kind of what it would look like.
I know you guys want to keep this going, but I've got some folks here who've been waiting patiently, so I want to go to the phones. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Let's do it.
Let's talk to Jill. She's in Richmond, Virginia, listening to WNTW. Go ahead, Jill.
Yes, I think what those cops did was outrageous. Don't put me on the jury because I already think they're as guilty as hell.
All right.
But the thing about rioting, the remark about burning down a police station because you paid taxes for it, that fails to take into account the fact that other people have also paid tax for it, and it's not just your individual police station. It belongs to the other people too.
Well, that is the tragedy of the commons, right? Where the idea of communally owned property, whether it be a park or a police station or whatever government facility it is we're talking about, whenever everybody owns a thing, that nobody actually owns it, and
I beg to differ.
It?
Nobody paid taxes; they take taxes.
This is true.
Well,
they do.
Well, the taxes were taken from them, but they were taken from a whole lot of other people too. Is my point.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I think about it. I was talking about this to a friend of mine who is also a police officer, and I said that what they did, I think, is murder, but that why does that give you the right to destroy somebody's store? What did that store owner do to you? And she said she thought that might bring about a change, and it might cause something to go better. I don't believe in human sacrifice. I don't think it's right to sacrifice an innocent person's store because of some good you want to achieve.
I totally agree with you there. And again, I was watching some of these live streams over the last couple of days in the overnights, because that's when the most interesting stuff is happening. And sometimes you can hear the excuses for this. The stream in particular, Unicorn Riot, is definitely run by a communist, because he kept talking about expropriation. He was saying that people, who we would call looters, were so-called expropriating the things.
Oh, you mean the proletariat?
These things from the Target or the other stores, which is another term for stealing. Right. And the way they justify this stealing is they say, oh, well, they're corporations, they've got insurance, they can rebuild the Target, but the victim can't get his life back.
They likely do have insurance, and likely. I don't know that that doesn't justify it, but the stores likely do have insurance.
They likely do, and it's likely true that Target will be fine after all is said and done. But it still doesn't excuse. I'm not making an excuse for destroying Target. Okay, right. I'm against all the private property destruction that's been going on in these protests, but saying, well, Target can come back, so it's no big deal. Well, what about the bookstore owner? What about the guy that owned the liquor store? What about the guy that owned the Indian restaurant that got burned down?
There doesn't seem to be any discrimination here.
No.
They're not like going, leaving one shop, hitting another shop, going two more shops down.
It's just random.
Everything's on fire.
The Arby's, they completely torched the Arby's in Minneapolis.
America's roast beef, yes, sir.
Yeah, it was really sad. Jill, thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I definitely always appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So this appeal that they make to, well, Target can come back, but you can't bring back the victim's life. Yeah. That's true. But it's still not okay to destroy. Like, even if you think Target's an evil corporation, right? Because that was one of the other excuses. The guy in the stream was like, well, Target...
all corporations are evil to these leftists.
Well,
and they do some awful things, no doubt.
To that extent... There is a point, because corporations are a government fiction, right? They're created
they are.
as a way to gain favoritism and
protection
by governments. Correct.
Business and trade and a free market, these are natural human behaviors. Right. And the fact that somebody may do business as a corporation in an atmosphere that benefits corporations, because all the other, you don't want to give another business the this huge, tremendous advantage. Yes. I mean, if Walmart was run as a family partnership or a sole proprietorship or any of these other, this isn't going to stop these looters from destroying.
Clearly.
And as I've learned recently, particularly from the move to New Hampshire, the use of corporations can be favorable to an individual seeking legal protections.
Right. I don't like the idea of corporations, but if I live in a world with corporations, I am not going to prevent myself from having, these legal fictions in so much as I then, expose myself to more trouble.
My preference would be that legal fiction didn't exist and everybody had the equal playing field that you're supposed to have in a free market.
People should be responsible for their actions. That includes politicians, police officers, rioters, looters, and whomever else.
Right. So when you go to the police department, you got my support. When you protest or even burn the thing down peacefully, you got my support.
Not me.
When you go to the police chief's house, when you go to the police officer's house, when you go to the mayor's house, you got my support because
you mean letting them know that you're dissatisfied in a form of a protest.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I just want to make it.
I didn't say burn down their houses. I didn't say that. Okay, but if you're targeting the actual people who are doing this violence, then you've got my support. As soon as you burn down somebody's business that has nothing whatsoever to do with this situation, then I'm no longer in support of what's going on. But the thing is, with a public event like these, right, you don't know who's going to show up, and that's part of the problem. Is you can't control
In some
people.
cases, it's agents provocateur.
That's where I was going with this. So the AutoZone that was smashed in Minneapolis a couple of days ago ended up being torched and completely burned. The AutoZone window was first smashed. Because, again, a lot of these things, it's a crowd mob mentality, right? If one person does an act of violence, other people then kick in, and they follow up with more acts of destruction. And the police know this. And some of these cops are, even worse than some of the other cops. So what happened?
I don't know how this ends up, but I mean, there's ample evidence in past riots. I don't know about this one, but in past riots of agents provocateur. I mean, the evidence is out there, and in fact, the Kent State killings, way back. It's beginning like there's evidence that was it, and that it was agent provocateur there.
Yeah. So in this case. And I'm not going to say it was an agent provocateur in every, smashing or destruction or whatever. But
that's not the way riots work.
In the case of the AutoZone, which was one of the earliest ones, by the way, this was the beginning. Essentially, the AutoZone was one of the very first buildings to be destroyed in Minneapolis over the last few days.
They got into the zone.
There was a guy dressed in all black who had a gas mask on, like a full-on, filters and gas mask. He had a gas mask on, was carrying a black umbrella. And he shows up and just smashes in one of the windows on the AutoZone and starts to immediately leave the scene.
The internet quickly dubbed him the Umbrella Man.
Yeah, and the other protesters that were around there were not in support of what he did. They actually came after him with video and started asking him questions. Well, he's like leaving as quickly as he can.
They asked him if he was an effing cop.
That happened, right. So, and he's like a big hulking guy, and he, turns around because there's like this little black guy comes up to him and he's like, he says to somebody like, "Hold my blunt." He goes after this guy, and he's trying to hold him accountable for bashing in the window. The cop turns, or what we thought was a cop, and turns out he is. He turns around and tries to menace this dude to get him to stop following him. And then he asks if he's a cop. Well, what happened was the internet started to investigate this guy. They found photos of a St. Paul police officer that the eyes matched up on this guy. You can see through the gas mask. And then his ex-girlfriend came out and said, "Yeah, that's him. I recognize his gait. I know what he looks like. That's the guy." There's more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org. This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces, even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms.
You might not get in right now, though, but keep trying.
Yeah. Well, actually, we do have some folks on Discord. I just noticed because I accidentally had the thing minimized. But now they're there, and I can see you, so we'll get to you. And actually, the phone lines are completely occupied at the moment. So if you're trying to call the toll-free line, you're going to likely get a busy signal. People have things to say. Imagine that when it comes to police departments being torched, when it comes to private businesses being torched. Riots actually going on across the United States, and the weekend isn't
2020 is really shaping up to be something, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no doubt. The weekend isn't even half over yet at this point. With you tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass.
And Mark.
And also want to say thanks to the folks over at Bitcoin.com for bringing you this program, longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com. Great place to go to learn about cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, because now's the time. If you haven't yet taken the time to learn about cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, get on over to Bitcoin.com, go through their introductory sections of the website and get it down, because it's time. This thing is a huge phenomenon, and it's not going to get smaller over time. It's going to become, now I'm predicting here that cryptocurrency is going to continue rising in value.
Well, let's make another prediction, and that sounds a lot safer. The government will continue to spend like a drunken sailor. The
unprecedented spending this year, by the way.
The national debt will balloon well above $40 trillion, probably within the next
4 years?
5 years.
Yeah.
And that the United States dollar will purchase less in the future than it did.
Guaranteed.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies largely were created to address this issue. And if you think that those are problems, you really should look at this one solution.
Well, and the U.S. dollar's purchasing power is less now than it was in January.
That's true as well. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. You can share your thoughts on whatever's on your mind. Let's go to Greg. He's in Rockford, Michigan, listening to WTKG. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, what's on your mind?
I love your guys' show. It's provocative.
Thanks.
I heard a report from our Grand Rapids Wood TV and Wood Radio, both the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota, said that a lot of these protesters that were doing the destruction were not even from the city or the state of Minnesota. And you guys touched on that, finally, the agents of Provocateur, I guess you could call them. And that's what's actually kind of going out around the country now, is the agents of Provocateur. They're not actual residents destroying their own property. It's people coming in that come in and say, hey, let's say, let's burn down the Target. Let's,
and then, surprise, it turns out the guy who destroyed the AutoZone, or began the destruction of the AutoZone, was apparently an undercover police officer. Now, whether he was being paid to go and do that, or he just wanted to go and start some so he would have the excuse to crack some heads later, is another question.
Right, we don't know what the reason is, but I can tell you that there's been instances where they arrest firemen for setting fires because they want to put out fires.
For this specific guy, the St. Paul Police Department, this from The Independent, the St. Paul Police Department acted to curb speculation and addressed the rumor in a series of tweets, telling them that the officer in question had an alibi and was on duty. They said, we are aware of the social media post that erroneously identifies one of our officers as the person, the umbrella man, as the person caught on video breaking windows in Minneapolis. The tweet reads, we've seen it, we've looked into it, and it's false.
They're
So
liars.
The police are denying that it's the same dude.
Yeah. These are the same cops who lie about a ton of crap. Hey, thanks for the call, Greg. I appreciate hearing from you, who are, in point of fact, legally allowed to lie to you and trained to lie to you. So why anybody believes these people, I will never understand it. We continue here.
What you say is not false. They are certainly allowed to lie to you.
And they're trained to lie to you in certain circumstances.
And what you've said as far as the girlfriend identifying this cop it appears to be true. I don't know whether this is the case. The police are the ones who are supposed to investigate this.
Yeah, they're going to not investigate that very hard.
And that's the problem in giving over a monopoly, right?
I know. We want to go back to you, more of your calls here. Jacob is in Farmington, New Mexico, says he is in law enforcement. Go ahead, Jacob.
I am, yes, sir. I've been in law enforcement for over a decade. I've assisted in investigations where we've arrested, fired, and charged not only other fellow cops, but detention officers. And so let me preface this with I'm totally for safe protests, not burning things down. In fact, I think we're going to have one up here soon. I just don't know, and I just want to have a civil conversation, but I just don't know if some of this rhetoric is unhealthy. I mean, I can tell you from my point of view, with the department I work with, most, if not all, we got into this job to help people, right? I mean, there's going to be bad apples. I understand that. But, I mean, lumping all cops together as bad guys and that we're going to lie and cheat and beat people, is this healthy for... I
hope that hasn't happened here, but you would agree that police are allowed to lie in the course of an investigation, right?
If it assists in our investigation, but we're not... we can't alter police reports. We can't... certain things, but if we're interrogating someone, we can twist.
I just want to make that clear. That's one of the issues here, right?
That's what they're trained to do.
In the course of an investigation, if I lie, it's a problem. In the course of an investigation, if you lie, it's not.
Well, and let me be clear too. I'm not. I don't work for the Fed, so if you lie to me, it's not a. I'm not going to charge you for it.
That's true. There's not a criminal charge
like it is for the FBI, where, by the way, the FBI doesn't take the time to even use a recording device like they were doing, I don't know, in the 70s in every other policing organization. So, the FBI is a completely different animal as far as it goes here, and their accountability appears to be significantly even less.
Jacob,
than local police.
I see where you're coming from, and I do appreciate that there are some law enforcement people who did get into law enforcement for what they believe were the right reasons. It is frustrating to see people who I think are intending to be good take a job where they are instructed to hurt peaceful people on a regular basis, whether it be somebody who might possess a plant or a chemical that has not been approved by their government masters, or whether it be harassing teenagers for drinking, underage, as probably 90% of police did when they were underage.
I agree, and I didn't want to get into politics, but I am all for. I want big time less government. Okay,
Same here. Yeah.
I'm all for that, and I don't like a lot of the laws on the books in New Mexico. I think they're just. I mean, why the hell do we need them? But
I'm with you, man.
That's my other.
Go ahead.
That's my other question, though. Too is look. This is. I like my job. It's a job that feeds my family. But I mean, at some point, and I don't like all the laws, like I said. But what's a better thing to do? And
good question. That's a good question, Jacob. And we're not going to have a whole lot of time to get into all the details on the answer tonight. But the better thing to do would be to not have a monopoly on protective services, and actually have an open marketplace where people could pay for the services that they're looking for, and not be forced to pay for murder and things like that. More coming up here. Thanks for the call, Jacob. I appreciate it.
When we adopted Buddy, who is a lab, we didn't know that he can't eat like a normal dog. He has to eat sitting up. So just put him down. His life expectancy maximum is 3 years. Well, he's 6 years old now, and I attribute most of that to Dinovite and a lot of love. DINOVITE.com. I heard about Dinovite on the radio and started mixing it in with his food, and it's changed everything.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Yes, he has a nice shiny coat. Yes, it helps with keeping a good, healthy weight on him. He's happy, he's healthy, and he's going to be with me for a long time because of Dinovite.
Dinovite for life.
We take him to the vet now, and they can't believe it. I love my dog. I want him happy and healthy, so I give him Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being
now.
detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here, bring up anything you want. Our number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With protests and riots spreading across the United States, you want to weigh in on this, you're welcome to join us. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. By the way, AnyPay is one of our wonderful sponsors here on Free Talk Live, and they're doing some really cool stuff when it comes to accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and Dash at your point of sale. You can go to anypayinc.com to get started there, or better yet, just go download the AnyPay Cash Register app and get started using AnyPay to accept cryptocurrency payments. Whether you're running a storefront with that hopefully has not been smashed and burned in, but if you're running a storefront and you're serving your community,
it sure is a good year for small business.
This is a good way to be able to get some payments from them. In the new thing, which is cryptocurrency, you can go to anypayinc.com, anypayinc.com, or again, just download the AnyPay Cash Register app. It's available for iOS, it's available for Android, and all you got to do is a quick little setup. You connect the app to your crypto wallet. And if you don't have a crypto wallet yet, there's some really good ones out there. I like Edge Wallet. I like Exodus Wallet. Those are my two favorites at the moment. And so you get that connected, and then you're ready to accept payments. I mean, it's literally a few moments of your time to get this set up. There's no asking for permission. You don't have to apply. You don't have to beg somebody, to let you into their system.
Right.
You just go and do it. AnyPay Cash Register. Go check it out. AnyPayInc.com. We go back to more of your calls and thoughts here. First up, Tom is in Kansas, listening to KINA in Salina. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, good evening.
Welcome.
I love the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, these businesses that are getting hit by these protesters, they're going to end up leaving the neighborhood, and because they're not going to be able to get insurance, and then we're just going to hear it's probably a minority neighborhood complaining, we have no jobs, no businesses. But one of the main things I want to bring in tonight is in Wichita, Kansas, the sheriff's department there, the property room, has been... all the good stuff has been taken out, $145,000 in cash, numerous firearms, and all of the drugs, from cocaine.
Wait a minute. Was it the police who raided their own room, or are you saying protesters got in there?
Say that two of the officers in charge of the property room are suspects, but they haven't been charged.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I think that the value of the narcotics is over $1 million.
Wow.
So the parasites and the mafia
charged them. And what's good about it is that 50 of the cases, they've dismissed 30 of them already. Because they say, well, the evidence is gone, so we can't go to court.
That does make me think, how many of the, how much do you want to bet Precinct 3 in Minneapolis, right before the cops took off, they also took the evidence out of the evidence room, but didn't mention it, right? Like, oh, whoops, we left it there, except they stuffed their pockets full of all the drugs.
Firearms that are in the police precinct.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and you hear stories all the time.
Great point.
Yeah, you hear stories all the time about folks who got busted with, oh, yeah, I knew that dude. He got busted. He had 40 pounds of marijuana on him. But then the report is like
25.
Pounds. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, the movie The French Connection?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when that heroin was seized by the police, two police officers took it from the property room and they sold it back to the, the dealers or the mob. And they were just fired. And that's
it.
a true story.
That's
it. I used
fired.
to live there.
A lot of times, by the way, when the police goes, don't let the police fool you, because most of the time they won't fire bad officers. They just kind of brush it under the rug, and the police investigation, the internal investigation comes up and says, well, our officers were doing things by the book. We're going to give them a promotion. That's usually what happens. Yeah. But on the rare occasion that you actually see an officer fired, and in the case of Minneapolis, they did fire him, but on the rare occasion you see an officer fired, 9 times out of 10, that guy's name will pop up again in the news because some department across the state hires him. So most of the time when cops are fired,
in some other state or
wherever, they're not actually blackballed from policing. They're just fired from that one department, and then they're free to go and get a job at any other department anywhere else. It happens all the time. In fact, with the Parkland, you remember the Parkland shooting a few years ago in Florida, where there was a mass shooting at a high school campus, and there was a cop. There was a cop who got fired because he didn't do anything. Remember him cowering outside of the shooting, just waiting for whatever he was waiting for, more cops to show up or whatever. He didn't do anything. They made a big show about firing that guy. He got rehired this year with full back pay.
Oh my!
Yeah, so I mean,
that happens a lot too.
Yeah, just because they fire a cop doesn't mean he's actually gone from policing.
Yeah, imagine this Derek Chauvin guy just thinking about how much back pay he's going to get whenever he's rehired at another police department.
Tom, thank you for your call and sharing your thoughts with us here. And you're right. I mean, that's destroying this private property. It's just so sad. They make these excuses. These communists make their excuses about, oh, well, the one life is more important than Target or these corporations, this and that. But what about the jobs?
I mean, think about it for a second. I mean, how much has Target brought to our world in so much as it makes our lives better? I mean, all the lives that came before us, how much their lives sucked. I mean, think about your grandfather and grandmother and how difficult their lives were.
Oh, yeah.
Their great-grandfathers. I mean, exactly when did indoor plumbing come along? Target makes it a lot easier to live a much better life. What is that worth?
Look, I'm a critic of Target and some of these mega corporations, right? Like one of the guys on the stream at Unicorn Riot pointed out that there's some allegations apparently that Target has hired slave labor in China. In the case of the Uyghurs, the Muslims who are being enslaved in camps in northwestern China. And so, I mean, those things are wrong. Target, of course, also was visually supporting the idea of a national service program.
But, I mean, I just want to say this because it seems super obvious, but who the heck named that company? It's a horrible name, right? Like, your name is frickin' Target.
You were asking for it.
Right? Like, I mean, couldn't you have named your company something slightly different than a red bullseye?
Let's go to Mike. He's on the road to Nashville. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Captain Kickass, and Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
I wanted to say, the future here. I'm making a prediction. So, first off, everybody agrees that was wrong, that guy, the police officer murdered him.
Derek Chauvin, I believe is his name. Derek Chauvin.
The murderer. Yeah, one of them.
Everybody on the globe is in agreement with that,
Mm-hmm.
But the future coming, which I can see a little bit here, is the ME, the medical examiner, is going to come out and say, all right, well, he had some sort of pre-existing condition, some sort of artery thing.
They're already saying that. They're already saying that.
Okay, so that means that, like, the police officer contributed to his murder, which he'll probably get manslaughter, and it's just going to start riots again after the conviction isn't going to be enough. People are going to be unrest.
It's an interesting question, and it's pretty clear that probably that's this case. Because, I mean, it's like this isn't the first guy that had a knee in his upper back or neck or wherever this knee went. And but he does appear to be one of the first to die from it. And but if you were anybody but a police officer did this particular activity, this would absolutely be called a murder, even if it was a contributing factor to the death, as opposed to, because, I mean, you're just not supposed to be doing that. And I don't think it's in the manual either, from what I can, from what cops are saying on the internet.
No, he'll probably get 15 to 20, but I mean, it's just, you can't say that.
I don't think he's going to do any time.
15 to 20 months, maybe.
I don't think he's going to do any time.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. You can't say that. He went, he clocked in for a shift and said I'm going to go out and arrest somebody and kill somebody.
I don't think it's first-degree murder. Personally, that's my opinion on it. I mean, I know a lot of people are heated up here, but it just doesn't look like first-degree murder to me.
Mike, thank you for the call, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you tonight. Feel free to call us any old time. We got plenty more Free Talk Live on the way. Phones are loaded up.
I will say it does appear to be some relationship previously between the perpetrator and the victim.
They worked at the same place, it turned out.
And that makes things a lot more suspicious.
It wasn't clear whether they actually knew each other, though. It was a fairly large club. They both worked in security. The cop was like the outside security or something like that. Anyway, more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention gardeners, if you need to grow nutritionally dense vegetables or medicinal herbs this year, listen, because a Bioactive Superfood for Plants is now available. This all-natural superfood for plants is so effective at producing maximum plant growth in minimum time that it almost forces plants to grow, even under the worst light and soil conditions. It's called Provocateur, and it's truly remarkable. Vegetables grow faster and contain more bioavailable vitamins and trace minerals. Plants that rarely bloom will flower constantly. Sickly plants become vibrantly alive. Medicinal herbs become super potent. Flowers become more vivid right before your very eyes. Protogrow also improves the taste quality of all your garden vegetables. That's because it's more than just an all-natural superfood for plants. It's a proprietary blend of bioactive sea nutrients that contain the basic building blocks of life itself, which is why Protogrow even renews your garden by increasing the microorganisms in the soil. Learn more at growlikecrazy.com. That's growlikecrazy.com. Get special pricing for network listeners right now at growlikecrazy.com.
You know what's really smart?
Wash your hands frequently, practice social distancing, and stay home if told to do so.
You know what's really dumb?
To ignore your immune system.
Right now, more than ever, your health depends on a strong immune system.
The experts at Immunocorp will give you their 7-step guide to immunity for life, free.
Why? Because we want you to be smart and healthy.
Simply call 800-446-3063 or click immunityforlife.com.
Immunocorp has been producing the world's leading immune system products for more than 2 decades.
To get your free 7-step guide to immunity for life, call 800-446-3063. 800-446-3063.
Be smart. Don't ignore your immune system. Your life depends on it.
Call 800-446-3063 or click immunityforlife.com. Immunityforlife.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, enough time. If you want to join us here, we got more than an hour of this live Saturday edition continuing.
We'll do it live.
And we are.
F it.
Just without the profanity. Thanks, FCC. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And it's just so frustrating. It's 2020, and you still can't say the F word on the radio.
It's not that I'm dying to say the F word on the radio, but I think that what's fairer to do is let's make a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who are we trying to protect? The children, right? It's always the children. As if, ladies and gentlemen, look at yourself. Like, think about your birth date and try to imagine a 10-year-old, with his transistor radio, bedtime being 9 o'clock. I mean, does any of this stuff make sense? I mean, do any of the words coming into my mouth sound like reality today? A 10-year-old with his transistor radio underneath his covers, listening to Free Talk Live.
Plus,
and being shocked and appalled by us saying the F-bomb, whereas, how about this? That same 10-year-old goes over to his friend's house, grabs their iPad, goes on some porn website, and then actually sees this word being performed.
When I was 10 years old, I was listening to the Dr. Demento show on Sunday nights after bedtime. I would sneak my little cheap Emerson boombox into my bedroom and turn on the Dr. Demento show and listen to all the demented music.
Love it.
But it was just music.
Because I wasn't allowed to.
Right.
Exactly. Well,
my mother heard that Benny Hill theme song, and I had to change the channel.
We're going to the phones here. You can share your thoughts, but even now, you've got politicians now like Trump who say profanities regularly as part of the things that they do, and it gets reported on. So can we play the live feed from Minneapolis? No, legally we probably, it would be an interesting argument because on one hand it's news and we should be able to report the news without having to censor it.
And it's protected by free speech.
You would think. But on the other hand, the FCC says you can't say the F word on the radio, and people on that feed are saying the F word.
You had mentioned that, it's 2020 and, that kind of thing, and we've talked about 2020.
Yeah.
I wonder what 2020 is going to look like in hindsight.
Excellent question. Clearly, I would think. We go back to your calls and thoughts. Derek J. Freeman is on our Discord lines. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, life is good here in peaceful Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Nice.
People are out having parties, and the businesses are serving customers, and nothing is on fire. It's a great place to be if you love freedom.
Did you guys have a protest today in Portsmouth?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can you go inside of a bar in Portsmouth and have a cocktail in air conditioning?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
The answer is no.
But Dr. Demento rocks. That last caller is incorrect that everyone agrees that guy was in the wrong, the police officer.
Oh, okay.
It's easy in hindsight to say that because we know what happened. But in the moment, there's no way they could have known that the guy was going to die. And I think,
but they could have known that they were
Adams,
crushing his throat, and they could have known that they were squeezing the life out of him because he let them know by saying he couldn't breathe. That's the first clue that you're killing a man.
All people under arrest say that, and you and I know. I've been like, hey, these are too tight. Get these off.
I've been under arrest, and I've never said I can't breathe because no cop was choking me.
I've been under arrest, and I told them that the handcuffs were too tight, and they actually loosened them up for me.
Sure. Well, they get that all the time, and I think in some cases they're right to ignore it. So I just want to play John Adams. He defended the redcoats involved in the Boston Massacre here. And I say Ian is wrong that what they were doing is murder, because that involves knowing that you're killing someone. And I know I have a bias against cops, but I value justice and truth more than painting the world with my bias. So think about this. Ian, you say the cop with his knee on the guy's neck knew he was murdering the suspect, and the other three cops standing by also knew that a murder was taking place. Yeah, so why would they do that?
Because they can get away with it.
But they have body cameras on. It's broad daylight.
Hasn't
People
stopped them before.
They believe it's their job.
Life.
They do this crap all the time, Derek J., and you know that. They
Mark
have no
is
problem
wrong.
recording it.
Mark is wrong that they're just taking businesses at random. There was a store that had a big sign that said, "This is a black-owned business," and it was completely passed by. What would it be like if someone put up a sign that said, "This is a white-owned business," and they passed that by and destroyed the others? What would we say about that?
I don't know. That doesn't sound likely.
And boy, it's great people recognize agents provocateur because that happens. They are there, and it's very bad. But it's important for people to record, and there's so many people recording with their video cameras. And thank God that they're doing that, because the more video, the more reality we know what actually happened. And I think these people who are stealing and looting should be identified and brought to justice, because stealing is wrong and looting has no place in a civilized society.
Totally agree with that.
They'll probably get them later with the cameras and stuff like that. I mean, at some point, but
I saw a zoom in
of them
of you know, one white kid amongst a sea of looters who were not white, and he was getting away with a new set of Legos.
Well, Ian said there'd be more liberty if the cops never came back, but I don't think he's right. I think that there's currently more liberty in a situation with police because the people don't have the philosophy of liberty already ingrained in them. They don't have personal responsibility. They see the cops are gone, they go right to looting, they do crime. And so I say there's more liberty for a person who's like a business owner.
Well, they're not going to do crime if there's business owners guarding their stores with weapons. There's a great story.
That's not happening.
Actually, it is. DailyCaller.com had a story a few days ago about a group of self-described, quote, heavily armed rednecks guarded several shops against looters Wednesday night as riots erupted across Minneapolis. When Minnesota Reformer reporter Max Nestorak asked two men with rifles standing outside a tobacco shop to identify themselves, one man responded, "Free Americans." While the men
well, if you think Minneapolis looks like a situation of more liberty, I think you're crazy.
I didn't say that.
That's not the kind of liberty that I would want. Well, you said that if the cops don't come back, they'd have more liberty. I don't see that as reality at all, given what the people are acting like right now. I say they have more liberty if they can trust that when people steal from their store, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, well, there should be consequences, but you can't count on the police to provide those consequences. You've got to do it yourself.
Well, I guess this is proof that you can't count on the police to do it, because the police,
they
hauled
left
up and ran. But I mean, they created the problem to start with.
That's right.
But at the same time,
this has been a long time coming.
You know what I would say is, it's not like we have to have poor customer service in the form of a service organization.
You do if it's a
nothing.
monopoly. You do if it's a monopoly.
I don't know about you guys, but I would rather have the freedom to seek justice to my own personal satisfaction.
Right. And
than depend on the state to do it for me.
We had that at one point, and it's the reason that we have the judicial system we have today.
Well, no, hold on.
It's just going to be murders.
Hold on. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. If you look at Detroit, so there's a recent example of what I'm talking about, Derek J., and I would think that you'd be aware of this. Maybe you've forgotten about the threat. I think it's called the Threat Defense Center.
Distributed?
I thought it was Threat Defense Distributed. Yeah, that might be it. But Defense Distributed makes the Ghost Gunner there in Texas. That's different.
Dale Brown.
Yeah. In Detroit, the police literally did just kind of leave a few sections of the city of Detroit. Now, I've not lived there. This is what I've read. Okay, I've seen interviews with Dale Brown from the Threat Management Center. And so you had a situation where the police department in a certain area of Detroit basically said, well, we're just going to be open business hours Monday through Friday, or maybe weekends, but you can't come here at night anymore. You can't and if you tried to report something that was going on, they wouldn't show up at all. It wouldn't be like you'd wait an hour or two. They just wouldn't come. And so
that guy's a hero.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell our listeners what he did. This guy created a private defense company that offers different levels of service to people. You want somebody 24/7 on your property? He's got that.
Yep.
You want somebody driving through every hour, every 3 hours, or whatever. You want to team up with other neighborhoods to do a large contract between the different neighborhoods for these private defense people.
Yep.
He's got that. You want to go there and do a self-defense course where they teach you how to defend yourself and learn what the best locks are to put on your house. He's got that. So there's different levels of service that you can buy from this guy. He is providing business owners and neighbors and individuals with protection services in the absence of the state. And that's what would rise up. Yeah, you would see some chaos for a little while after the police leave a given area.
Like you did in Detroit.
People aren't going to put up with that crap for long. They want to have a normal life that doesn't involve being afraid when they leave their houses. And the marketplace will respond if it were free to do so. But right now it's not, because if you try to compete with the police, they'll consider you a competing gang and they'll arrest you.
Well, gee, I hope you're right, but a collapsed state is not the same thing as a libertarian paradise.
Sure is.
And
No
I think
doubt.
it's more freedom but less liberty in the short term.
And in
More
the short
freedom,
term, you're
but less
right.
Liberty.
These people don't
if you
understand.
survive the short term, Ian.
These people don't. Well, you could die tonight. These people don't. Who are
Probably
doing
not
these
from
protests
a riot in Keene, New Hampshire.
And most people aren't dying from the riots. These people are not libertarians. Okay, so obviously, whatever it is that comes after this, if they manage to take down the system like some of them want to do, they don't know what they want to replace it with.
To get them to have the libertarian philosophy, they must first be incentivized to be responsible.
Oh,
Good
they
call.
know what they want. They want a cart full of TVs because
Derek
that's
J,
what they got.
Thank you for the call, man. I definitely appreciate it. We got hour number 3. That's not fair, Mark. Not all of them are there to loot. In fact, I would say it's probably a minority of what are thousands of individuals who are out in the streets in Minneapolis. There's more coming up. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,735, silver at $18.34, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,422. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, millions of Americans feel like the country is drifting precariously close to the point where social cohesion unravels. What's the Minneapolis Police Department solution? Arrest a team of journalists live on air. The same police department that hired the officer who cruelly and arbitrarily murdered George Floyd has responded to the intensifying media coverage of the riots that are now beginning to spread across the U.S. with what some might describe as Stalinist tactics. The Free Thought Project reports CNN tweeted a photo of reporter Omar Jimenez being taken into custody in the middle of the live report.
I'm sorry? You're under arrest. Okay. Do you mind telling me why I'm under arrest, sir? Why am I under arrest, sir? Officer's with CNN and he's on the air right now.
The video was captured by the crew while they were being arrested. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told CNN Worldwide President Jeff Zucker he deeply apologizes for what happened. The crew has since been released from custody. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. In a tweet around midnight Friday morning, President Donald Trump took to his Twitter account and threatened to begin extrajudicially executing protesters suspected of looting in Minneapolis. The Free Thought Project says it's an unprecedented move by a president and speaks to the nature of the current situation in the United States. Stealing a TV from Target does not warrant a death sentence, especially without due process. After Trump made the threat, Twitter hid the tweet behind a warning on Friday, accusing Trump of breaking its rules by glorifying violence. However, it's so much more than glorifying violence. It's advocating for the extrajudicial slaughter of hundreds of people over property damage. Trump, in his tweet, said, quote, "These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts." End quote. A bizarre twist in the murder of George Floyd was reported on Thursday night, as a former club owner in South Minneapolis revealed that Floyd worked at her club as a security guard, alongside recently fired police officer Derek Chauvin, the man who killed Floyd. Club owner Maya Santamaria says that the two both worked the same security shift at El Nuevo Rodeo Club on Lake Street before the business was sold a few months ago. The Mind Unleashed reports that Santamaria said she can't be certain that Chauvin and Floyd knew each other, because often over a dozen security guards working at the club on any given night might not have any contact with each other. Still, they did work overlapping shifts, and the fact that one man ended up killing the other should justify further investigation into whether or not the two had a prior relationship. That could potentially mean there was a deeper motive behind the murder. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a new report, the vast majority of Americans simply want to be safe, happy, rich, comfortable, entertained, thin, and romantically fulfilled. The Onion spoke to a few of the survey's respondents who also claimed they want to be healthy, fulfilled, and successful and energized at all times.
All I want is a low-stress job, a nice house, affordable health care, and low gas prices, you know? It'd be nice to have a 35-hour work week, delicious food that's actually good for me, strong friendships, and free high-speed Wi-Fi wherever I go.
I think I'm entitled to wealth, love, cheap education, a fair legal process.
According to the survey, 63% of all Americans want their summers to be hot but not too hot. 85% want the government to stop all wars, end world hunger, and make quick and easy weight loss possible. 93% want to be emotionally satisfied, plus a soulmate, unconditional love from their parents, and a big happy dog.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
We've been discussing throughout the show tonight various different aspects of this the recent riots, protests that have erupted across the United States, starting in Minneapolis with the latest murder by the police. This one set people off, and rightfully so. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who've used this as an excuse to simply steal things, loot, destroy, and punish innocent business owners that have absolutely nothing to do with. We're not supporters of the police.
I wonder where they learned to do that from. Where did they learn to take advantage of these types of situations for their own personal gain?
What are you suggesting?
Government.
In the idea that never let a crisis go to waste kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, it certainly happened with COVID. Government attempted to expand power, and we can see that
they did.
In their expansion of the power, that is not their intent to protect you, small business, or anything else.
Right. Yeah. The police are not there to protect you. They cut and ran out of the 3rd Police Precinct in Minneapolis. And the protesters, I'd say rightfully, set fire to the facility.
We should have asked that LEO that called in whether he thought that police were protecting and serving the general public or the ruling class.
Let's go to more of your phone calls and thoughts.
He did say why they got into policing was to protect the general public.
But he said some of the people got into it. He acknowledges not all police are interested in that. Some of them are just interested in empowering and destroying themselves and destroying lives and getting rich off of stealing stuff from people. So there are curfews, by the way, popping up in cities across the United States. Minneapolis went first last night with an 8 p.m. Central Time curfew.
8 p.m.? Isn't that... You said 9 p.m. was the bedtime for 10-year-olds, right? I mean, geez, man, talk about the nanny state.
Exactly, and now we're seeing other cities as well. Denver has announced a curfew. Los Angeles has announced a curfew. Philadelphia has announced a curfew, and there's probably there's several others as well where they're trying to head off what they believe will be continuing, increasing in intensity riots. So we're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts here. You want to weigh in because are you a free person if mommy government can tell you can't even walk outside your home?
Yeah, what are we, 10?
Of course, that's not really that different than what's been going on over the last 2 or 3 months here now with so-called lockdowns across the United States. Let's go, though, to Tony. He's in South Georgia listening to WMTM. Go ahead, Tony.
Hi there, guys. Totally agree with your assessment of the situation in Minneapolis. The officer with his knee on the guy's neck, full weight, because you can see his other leg moving around. And the 4 officers standing there, and one of them didn't say, hey, let the guy up. And also, I totally agree with the violence. It is senseless. The looting and the small businesses who are incurring the wrath of these mobs. But there is a story that the national news has not picked up. It came out of Chicago on one of the L trains where a guy got into a tussle with 2 officers. One pulled out his weapon and shot the guy. The guy was unarmed. It killed him. LeBron James is not around. Al Sharpton is not around. Black Lives Matter is not around because the 2 officers involved were black and the assailant white.
Yeah, and I think that that is one of the difficulties of all of this. I really wish we lived in a colorblind world where we could see that. Because here in the radio, what on Free Talk Live, what our claim is that it isn't black versus white. It is the state versus us. And that's what it basically comes down to is that these people, whether these people are black or white, in these uniforms have qualified immunity and don't have to be responsible for their actions. I'm not saying some of them don't act as though they are responsible people. And in fact, probably many of them do. But when you put incentives in place that give people the ability to act irresponsibly, that's what you're going to, when you don't cause people to be responsible, they're going to act irresponsibly. Just take a look at the politicians. And you'll see, to a smaller extent, what the police are going to be like.
There were some mixed messages that I observed today at the very large protest that happened in Manchester that went on for a couple hours here in New Hampshire, where on one hand, there were definitely, the Black Lives Matter chants that were going on. But on the other hand, there were also some people on the megaphone, and there was some signage about how we're all part of the human race. That there's only one race, and that's the human race.
I say that all the time.
That's a message that I can get behind.
Yes.
I understand. I'm not trying to minimize the idea that, yes, minorities are definitely more targeted by the police. There's no doubt about that. The statistics bear it out. It's pretty clear. But that doesn't mean that there aren't white people who are also having the life choked out of them or them being shot to death. And I'm thinking of Duncan Lemp, of course, as the most recent example of that. When I was listening to the names of people being read off at these, at the protests, reading off names of victims of police violence from across the United States, I didn't hear the name Duncan Lemp. But then again, these would have to be exhaustive lists. I don't know if all the people on the list were just black victims of the police or not. But I totally agree with you guys on this. It's the police versus everybody else. It's totally an us versus them thing, and even they look at it that way. They've got their precious thin blue line. It's their gang symbol where they protect each other, and black officers protect white officers, and white officers protect black officers for the most part. And they are going against all of the rest of us.
I can't remember looking into it from the position of evidence, but do you suppose the state is the most racist acting organization?
As in they're against the human race?
Well, I mean,
he just dropped off. Thanks for the call.
As far as, not being colorblind, do you suppose that there are more racist acts against people,
by state actors?
By state actors than there are by individuals?
Interesting question.
I can tell you that they would be more harmful. Right. So if let's say that you've got a, your classic racist. Right. So white guy dislikes black people. That's the one everybody wants you to think about.
Right.
In one case, it's a white guy, telling a black guy, you can't eat at my restaurant. Mm-hmm. All right. So there's the lunch counter thing. It's a big deal. In the other case, you have a white police officer, putting his knee on a black guy's neck until he dies, or, brutalizing him and no one cares, or whatever the situation is. I'd rather be personally told, no soup for you, than to be beaten up.
Yeah. Right. No doubt.
So when the state acts in a racist fashion, it is worse than when...
More likely to be deadly.
Right. I would want to know if a restaurant owner was a racist, because then I could be like, well, I like your soup, but I'm not going to your restaurant because you won't let my friend who's black come.
Right. I mean, we know, statistically, that there are less white people in prison than, fewer than, other colors.
Yep.
We know that the arrest rate is higher for blacks than it is, any other color, really. So we can point to some of that as evidence. So I'm just wondering if the state as a whole is, the most racist organization.
Good question. I mean, it is certainly a place wherein a racist can garner power for themselves, right?
Because if an organization type that's that massive and pervasive throughout the globe is in fact the most racist organization, then there's a possible perspective that many more people who maybe don't find themselves to be of the freedom mind can get behind.
I want to get Richard on the line. He's in Lynchburg, Virginia, listening to WLNI. Go ahead, Richard.
How you doing? Yeah, I think this rioting and looting is stupid. Honest to goodness, if the grown people gonna act like a fool, what do you think that adults gonna do?
I can barely understand. I don't know if it's because you're swallowing the phone. Maybe back off your phone a little bit too. Say again, please.
Okay, I said it's ridiculous the way these grown people are acting. Looting and rioting and stuff is not the answer. Yes, have a peaceful protest. That you don't want to hurt your own community. If the grown people want to act like a fool, what do you think the kids going to do?
That's a great point. Richard, thank you for the call tonight. People acting like fools. It is not effective to destroy your friends' and neighbors' businesses or strangers' businesses because, again, a lot of people coming into these cities from the outside, they don't live there. There's more coming up here. Thank you, Richard. This is Free Talk Live.
When we adopted Buddy, we didn't know that he has to eat sitting up. So just put him down. DINOVITE.com. I heard about Dynamite and started mixing it in with his food. He's happy, he's healthy, and he's going to be with me for a long time because of Dynamite. I love my dog. I want him happy and healthy, so I give him Dynamite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, take control of the airwaves here, bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The captain.
Ed Mark.
So we continue to dissect and discuss the ongoing protests and riots, now curfews being announced in multiple cities across the United States. Last night, the situation in Minneapolis did see a major police crackdown. So, you know, they came back with a vengeance, came in with National Guard troops as well, occupying the streets and dispersing protesters.
Now, I've heard that National Guard has been deployed in multiple cities.
I suspect you're right about that.
I don't have an article to prove that.
Yeah, I haven't been it's too much to follow, right? Like there's so much going on right now. I mean, I was out at a protest today, so I haven't even really done much more than look at the headlines that right before we started the show. But I have been following a lot of this over the last few days, including watching some of the live feeds. So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us. The number here is 855-450, free like freedom. But last night we went out and we did our 10th week of the Keen Nightcap.
Week 10.
Where I don't know, I didn't even count last night. What did we get up to last night? Like 7 or 8 people, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Some of the weeks we've had more than 10 people, others not. But we've been going out and just openly violating the governor's stay-at-home orders.
Amongst other things.
Yeah, every single week here in Keene, New Hampshire. Long before these protests were going on, we were doing it here in Keene. Peacefully, of course, and just minding our own business. Yeah. But anyway, before we went to this event, we were actually on the air doing an after show on our DLive and our Twitch channels, which you can follow those channels over at dlive.lrn.fm or twitch.lrn.fm. There are live streaming video channels. During our radio shows like this one, we are live on those platforms. But every now and then we'll do what we call an after show, or we call it Freer Talk Live, because you can say the F word on Twitch. So we were doing that last night before we went to the nightcap. Me and nobody were in here doing it. And so the idea was, well, let's come back, because we were watching some of the footage from Minneapolis at that time and just sort of commenting, sort of doing a play-by-play of what we were seeing on the Minneapolis footage. And so we thought, well, it was only 11 o'clock or 11:30 when we stopped, and we figured, well, things are going to get more interesting throughout the night, so let's come back after we're at nightcap for a couple hours and do another show. By the time we came back, it was over. The footage was still going. There was still, the Unicorn Riot girl was still walking around, but she was all alone. There was nobody else around her. The police were obviously somewhere, but
so all of the rioters started yawning.
They
Let's
dispersed.
Go to bed.
I think they got dispersed by the arrival of police and National Guard troops.
The government guard.
That were on the scene there. And in fact, I've got a whole story about the National Guard being called into those various cities across the United States. We can talk about that. And of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome as well. Let's go to the phones and to Laszlo. He's calling from the United States. You're on Free Talk Live.
Who?
Hey, you're on the air.
Me, Laszlo?
What's your name?
Laszlo.
Laszlo, yes, sir.
Okay, hi.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Mark will remember me from suggesting my 5 points of positiveness by digging a canal.
Yes. You were the one who wanted the giant canal separating the United States and Mexico, right?
There you go.
God,
you go.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh, good memory.
Wow, when the hell was this?
It's been a while.
20 miles wide, 200 feet deep, 4,000 miles of Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, that would be.
Or,
and I believe that
or whatever.
I can't remember what the comparison to Mount Everest was, but the dirt was dwarfed.
My cat sat on my mouth. Hold on.
Yeah, it's never good. What were you calling about tonight, though, Laszlo?
Why is anybody surprised about propaganda?
What do you mean?
The Smith-Mundt Act. Smith-Mundt, M-U-N-D-T.
Okay.
Right?
What's that?
Of 2013, I believe, was repealed.
What is it?
It's a propaganda act. Like, you can't propagandize the American people.
Oh,
who said that? The
but
government?
It's done every day.
Wait, was this an act that supposedly told the government they couldn't propagandize?
Right. Correct.
Oh, well, so they repealed that, so now it's totally fine for them to propagandize.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the way it's always been. Nothing's really changed, and it's not like the government's going to prosecute themselves. So even if it was illegal for the government to do propaganda, it's not like they're going to go after themselves for it. So it wouldn't.
Correct. But I have a bigger question for all you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Which came first? Public sector or private sector?
Well, it would seem like private sector.
I would say.
Yeah, you can dole out the sound effect of the drinking.
Oh, your little
glass
tipsy
bottle hitting the
All right. Well, hey, it's nice that you've admitted it. So, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
The idea of government is something that, we weren't born with, right? The idea of the state is something that somebody
I didn't say government.
I didn't take
Well, that's
government.
what the public sector is, Laszlo, and thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Public is a code word for government.
It is.
It's a code word.
So is national.
Right. To make you think that it's something bigger or better or, larger than what it is. And what it is just a criminal enterprise of human beings who are using this sort of window dressing of, oh, well, look, we have elections. We have courts. We have, all this, like I say, window
Same old
dressing.
crap keeps happening, but you have the ability to do something about it.
You can vote.
And you don't. I mean, the evidence is, I'd say that Donald Trump was something different than what we sort of generally expecting. Okay, I mean, it's different, but you in and of yourself, you aren't the government. They tell you you're the government, but if you were the government, you'd be able to change something. You can't change anything. Try to change something. That's how you'll know whether or not you actually are in control.
So, as we're saying, the curfews are coming down in various cities across the United States. The story here coming from the Associated Press just a couple hours ago. Protesters set police cars ablaze in Minneapolis, smashed businesses' windows, and skirmished with baton-wielding officers in the streets from Atlanta to Los Angeles. As anger over George Floyd's death spread across the country, so-called authorities were bracing for more violence Saturday. That's today, with some calling the National Guard to beef up overwhelmed forces. In Minneapolis, the city where Floyd died Monday after a white police officer pressed a knee into his neck and kept it there for more than 8 minutes, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz fully mobilized the state's National Guard and promised a massive show of force to help quell unrest that has grown increasingly destructive. Walz said, quote, "The situation in Minneapolis is no longer in any way about the murder of George Floyd. It's about attacking civil society, instilling fear, and disrupting our great cities," which, of course, all the government does, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they're describing government actions?
Yeah, they attack civil people. They attack and instill fear. That's how they rule, is through instilling fear, which is what the COVID crackdown has all been about, is making people fearful so they'll do what they're told. On Saturday, again, that's today, after a tumultuous night, racially diverse crowds took to the streets again for peaceful protests in dozens of cities. Friday's protests, too, had started calmly from New York to Oakland, California, and from Atlanta to Portland, Oregon, before many descended into violence. The toll-free number here is 855-450 for you want to weigh in on the unrest going on across the United States and share your thoughts with us. You can do that. It's Ian, Captain Kickass, and Mark here on the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live, 855-450, free like freedom. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew, at freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial in toll free. Numbers 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into one of those and join us here on the radio waves. Now, we've been talking about the ongoing protests that are continuing across the United States. Many other cities joining in today. Luckily, in our very own Manchester, New Hampshire, things were pretty peaceful. There weren't any, at least that I was aware of, arrests that went down. I did hear a couple people talking about some arrests that had happened, but it might have been later on. There was one guy who apparently drove by and threatened some people. He did get apparently arrested.
Yeah, I thought I saw one guy got arrested for something.
Yeah, but if there had been an arrest during the actual protest, it would have caused a huge stir, and that didn't happen. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure the police, they sort of stood by and watched. This was one of the other differences between today's protest, the Black Lives Matter protest, and the Reopen New Hampshire protest that happened that we went to. So I've been to both. Yep. And the police were at the Black Lives Matter protests, but they were nowhere to be found when it came to the Reopen New Hampshire protest, which was very interesting. In fact, one of the guys we were with said he saw the police chief himself sitting and in a cruiser and sort of observing from a distance. So there were a lot of cops involved. They had shut down some of the side streets. They'd closed them off as the protesters were marching to keep other cars from going through.
It's a classy event if the supervisor shows up.
Yeah, the chief himself there. So in cities across the United States, protests continued. Also, curfews are now in place. And one of the things I mentioned off the air, and we're going to go right back to your phone calls, but curfews are actually a factor that will make these worse.
I think so.
I think this is an interesting point.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it.
Yeah, and I didn't think of it either. So I forget who told me this earlier today, but it was a great point. The idea being that, hey, if you tell everybody, if you come out after 8 p.m., which is what most of these curfews are now, if you come out after 8 p.m., you are subject to arrest. Now, there are certain exemptions. So if you're, if you have to go to work or something like that, or if you're in the media, there's an exemption. So it depends on how it's written or whatever. But for the most part, if you don't have a legitimate excuse by view of the government, then you can't be out and they could possibly arrest you for it. Well, if people are upset and protests are in the midst of happening, as we're seeing happen, and people are going to want to keep coming out despite the fact that there's a curfew, well, guess what? Just you're going to get the hardcore people who aren't afraid to be arrested, which means you're more likely to get the tough crowd of the people who are willing to, destroy a business, commit looting, commit violence. They're more likely to continue to come out, whereas average folks who, maybe they have work to go to the next day or the next week, they can't risk getting arrested just simply for leaving their homes.
Right.
They're worried about their families. They've got all these other considerations. They're going to be like, well, I guess we're staying in. There's a curfew. We don't want to go up against the police just for walking out of our home. Whereas the other people who just don't give an F, they're going to go out and they're going to break stuff.
I guess in a way, from the perspective of the state, that is a potentially effective tactic at dividing the number of protesters.
It could be. But what it definitely does do is it makes it so those who are out are more likely to be troublemakers.
Yeah.
And so therefore they don't have that sort of influence of being around other people who are against destruction, of the people who are saying, well, hey, man, don't do that. Hey, that's not cool.
Right.
Because there is a factor where if you got 100 people or 1,000 people and half of them are against violence and they're against destruction of property, they will be an attenuating factor against the people who are in favor of the destruction of property. And if all those people stay home, or if 90% of them stay home, then you're just going to have the baddies out there. Let's go and then the cops, who are of course worse. We go to more of your calls and thoughts. Let's talk to Debbie. She's in South Carolina. Debbie, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys,
Hey.
First time listener, first time caller.
Welcome, thank you.
I bet you're shocked.
Well, this is no wild call, but I do want to send my prayers and condolences to the family of that gentleman that was killed. That's just horrific. I can't understand how those 3 other cops could stand there and witness and allow that one cop to do that to that man.
Oh, they get paid for it.
I'm just appalled. So
It's sick. It's inhumane. It's hard to believe that any human being could stand there and do nothing. Now, I understand why the people watching don't want to get involved as much as they may have wanted to step in, because that cop and the other 3 cops are going to shoot you. If you tried to come up there and pull that cop off of that man, you'd end up dead. And they would be justified legally in shooting you for that. So I understand why people stand by and just record video. It's the safest, most effective thing you can do without getting physically involved. But man, I do wish that someday we can see a crowd of people go in and take a cop off of stop a cop from killing somebody. I don't think they should kill the cop. This is what I was telling one of the protesters today. I'm like, look, I think that what needs to happen in these situations is the people around need to come in there, pull that cop off of that guy, and then handcuff the cop and leave him there.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill the
Can
cop.
I ask you a question?
Just stop it. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I heard earlier, either Friday or Thursday, on the Rush Limbaugh show that the cop that actually killed him had like 18 infractions, and one of the other 3 had 5 infractions. My point with that, if you have a cop that has 18 complaints, so obviously we don't know how severe those complaints are, but 18 complaints, don't you think something should have been done? He should have been suspended, or possibly, based on what type of complaints they were, removed from the force to force something like this before it escalated and something.
Well, that's
like
what a company that would be interested in your business would be interested in doing, right?
Yes, they were interested in customer service,
right?
Yeah.
And if the customers were indeed the general public.
The short answer is yes, and the fact is that this happens all the time. This isn't isolated to Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Minneapolis is probably one of the better cities about these sorts of things. And one would ask the question then is, why does this keep happening? Why are police officers that have complaints against them over and over and over again allowed to stay on the force, allowed to stay on the beat?
Because they protect each other.
They're not moved to different jobs, and even more importantly, they get these complaints against them, and then something happens. Why does the police force expose themselves to this? I don't have a good answer to that.
Because they're not liable. Because there's almost never any punishment. There's never any liability for these officers directly or for any of their superiors.
The job type specifically incentivizes the behavior of psychopaths.
Yes. Yes, it does. And then you end up getting psychopaths. And Debbie, great call. Good questions.
And
Thank
so
you for
those
making
18 infractions are actually a sparkling resume for a police chief looking to hire the next star cop.
Right, because if it is an organization full of psychopaths, then it's inevitable that the psychopaths will become the chiefs. And so therefore you've got a bunch of insane, lunatics. I'm not saying all police are like this, because again, there are some
but
some
the
good
job
ones out there.
incentivizes that type of behavior.
It absolutely does. And because you're forced to pay for them, then they have no accountability whatsoever. You can't it's not real accountability, these half-ass measures that these people put into play. Well, we're concerned here in Atlanta. We're going to form the Atlanta Police Review Board. Now, we're going to put important people on the Atlanta Police Review Board, and they're going to have the power to review what the police do, and they're going to have the power to make suggestions as to what could happen. And they make it sound like they're doing all this stuff, but nothing actually changes.
And they always mention the word reform.
Right.
Well, so it wasn't formed correctly the first 17 times before the
now
past 17 reforms that happened?
Remake it again. They haven't changed anything significant.
And unlike any other type of organization, you have no choice in provider.
That's the most important
If you don't
factor.
like the provider, the service that you're getting, oh well.
Right. If there's a Walmart and you go into the Walmart and the guy running the electronics department smacks you in the face every time you come into the store, you'd probably be like, I'm not shopping here anymore. You might go and tell the manager, hey, I just got punched by the guy in the electronics department.
Yeah.
And if the manager didn't go and do something about that, you would rightfully tell all your friends about the experience, and you'd say, I'm never going to shop at that store
And
again.
it's not like press agencies like our own have not attempted to file police complaints in the past.
Right.
In many cases, what you'll find is people get beat up who try to file complaints.
Yeah. Well, they arrested the CNN reporter just the other night on the air.
Yep.
We got more coming up here in moments. 855 450 free, like freedom. You got to be able to choose if you want to have accountability with these organizations.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required. Only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
This is a pandemic survival alert, and the most time-sensitive messages you will hear this year. You still have time to plant a 1-acre crisis garden and secure a supply of your own nutrient-dense food. But time is running out, and it's one deadline you don't want to miss. Who should plant a crisis garden? Individuals, families, churches, communities, anyone or any group that sees hard times ahead. Let's face it, even the mainline media is talking about food supply disruptions and the growing number of grocery store workers who are becoming sick. But there's more. Meat packing plants are closing, mile-long lines at food pantries, and more farmers now in financial trouble. The truth is, growing nutrient-dense vegetables this summer may be the single most important thing you do. Go to survivalseedbank.com and watch the new video to understand what we're really up against. Get free bonus seeds, special quarantine reports too. Don't wait, every minute counts. Go to survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens. We support the amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Jeunesse products are designed by leading doctors in their field with natural ingredients and even stem cell technology. These products help your body perform and look better. Shop Jeunesse at gcnlife.com or call 1-844-443-6637. gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
If you're one of the many frustrated singles who suffer from online dating fatigue, you might just be in luck. A new dating website launched this week that caters to fed-up men and women who simply want to meet eligible singles with unbroken skin or open sores similar to their own. It's called Last Shot.
If you're one of those people who's just ready to throw your hands up in the air and start a life with someone who has unbroken lesion-free skin, or on the other hand, if you're open to someone who has boils and abscesses similar to your own, Last Shot is perfectly calibrated to your needs.
Boasting a user-friendly interface and affordable dues of $4.99 a month, Last Shot simply asks users to log in, then click yes or no if they have open sores. Within moments, they're connected with hundreds of eligible singles who have comparable skin conditions. Reviews have been overwhelmingly positive. Our Curie hopes to one day introduce an upgraded membership experience, which would allow exasperated singles to filter for specific skin conditions.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. If you're on the lines now, we're going to do our best to get you in here. If you're not, well, you can always call tomorrow because we're doing this show live all 7 nights per week. 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. If you miss a moment, you can always go download it any old time you want to over at freetalklive.com. Hey, the Next Generation wallet is coming from Divvy. And in just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe and only in a swipe, and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. And when the new Divvy wallet launches, because of their relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at diviproject.org, D-I-V-I, diviproject.org. Right back into your phone calls and thoughts. A lot of people, understandably, with comments on the riots that are spreading across the United States as government gangsters crack down on people, many of whom are peaceful. The supermajority, of course, of protesters are peaceful. There are some agents provocateur. There are some troublemakers. There are some bad people out there that are making things worse for everybody by destroying private property, and that I think is tragic. But, I'm not going to shed any tears if I see a police station on fire. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We got Ken in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Ken.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. You're on the air.
Good. Hey, I just wanted, you guys kind of cracked open a whole can of, tons of worms on this subject.
We're good at that. Worms. Go ahead.
Well, I've been a cop for a little over 20 years, and I can tell you ever since the Garner incident, every year it updates, they go over not to do exactly what those guys did. They warn you of the consequences, how dangerous it is.
Just to interrupt Eric Garner, the guy who was choked to death previously, this one in New York City, for selling loose cigarettes.
Yes. They go over that, and, positional asphyxia, you can't have somebody on their stomach, and you sure as hell can't kneel on their neck for, 6 or 8 minutes.
Yeah. Now, Mark had mentioned earlier that he felt that kneeling on someone's back was an appropriate tactic. Is that something they teach?
No, I said the cops did.
Is that something they teach?
No. Usually they don't want you to kneel on the back. Usually, in order just long enough to get the cuff on. A lot of guys will kneel on an arm, on the bicep or the something like that. And a lot of times it does end up being on the back, but it's brief. It's not certainly not enough to cause damage. You can't keep it, like those guys did. You can't keep it there. You're going to kill it. He knew what he was doing was going to kill the guy. All right. All of them they should have been arrested on the spot. Every doggone one of them.
Well,
what would you have done if you were one of the...
I'm sorry, I just want to say, Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that as a person in your position.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it too, because Mark wouldn't believe it earlier when I told him. But look, what would you have done if you were in this situation and you saw a couple of your coworkers treating somebody like these Minneapolis police? What would you have done?
I would have pulled them off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what those guys actually told that guy to stop what he was doing. I guess he's like, no, I'm good. And they did nothing. They knew the guy was good. They knew the danger of what he was doing, and they didn't care.
Ken, was there anything else you wanted to share here tonight?
Well, yes, the biggest problem I see with police in general as far as use of force, we go to the academy before you start. And then you go and you learn, hand-to-hand and arm bars and everything else in the academy. But then that's it. You don't ever have any more training. So the problem with police and use of force and using tasers and guns and batons, most cops don't know how to do hand-to-hand combat. It's not like military where they practice repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. Do they teach peaceful?
You go from 0 to 60,
I'm sorry, I just had a question. Do they teach peaceful de-escalation?
We do that. I mean, a lot of that stuff to go over briefly in updates, but any more updates are usually online, and most guys don't even pay attention. There are classes you can elect to go to, stuff like, they call it verbal judo, stuff like that, de-escalation techniques.
Mm-hmm.
But most guys don't go. I mean, a lot of that stuff most people learn on the job. How to de-escalate the situation, but some guys are horrible at it. But in general, a lot of guys there would be a lot less injuries and use of force if they would institute a mandatory training as far as with hand-to-hand combat. Not combat hurting people, but just knowing how to do less than lethal stuff with your hands.
To stop an attack, to take down somebody as quickly and as painlessly as
right.
as
I mean, cops are human. Fear comes into it. When you've got somebody coming at you, you internally and quickly have to take note of, your mental inventory. I mean, your physical inventory as far as what you know how to do. And most cops, it's yell at them or grab the taser or grab the mace or grab the gun or the baton. They don't know how to wrestle. They don't know how to,
jiu-jitsu classes really should be part of training. I mean, the arm bars are taught and all that stuff, but an arm bar is only useful 100%. When you get somebody into a position to put them in an arm bar.
Ken, really interesting call. I want to thank you for sharing it. I want to make sure we get some other folks on here. Really, I think probably one of the best calls of the night. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that from inside the police. It's nice to know there's some level-headed people still in that world. So I appreciate your call. Let's continue here with Joe. He's in Daytona Beach. And Joe, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Welcome, sir.
Hey, I'm going to ask completely random questions here, then I'm going to go back to something that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know how closely you guys follow the Libertarian Party, but they just had their nomination for president and vice president.
They did, yeah.
So they nominated. Yeah. So
they had Vice?
Okay.
Yeah, they do the same week. They do the same weekend.
Yeah, I didn't see the Vice.
There's the guy's name is Spike, I believe. I forget his last name. And
Spike Cohen.
Spike Cohen. And then the presidential nominee is the former vice presidential nominee from 1996. So she must have been in her 30s at that time. But Joe Jorgensen, who is expected to be, by the way, a guest on Free Talk Live coming up on Tuesday night.
Oh, awesome. I'll definitely listen to that one. And one other question, did you all talk about, I called it like about an hour and a half ago, so I didn't hear the whole thing, but did you all talk about the Donald Trump tweet about what happened at the White House the night before?
No, what happened at the White House?
Yeah, so apparently there were some people at the gates of the White House, and he tweeted about it, so you can check out his Twitter, and he was saying how the agents there defended the White House, and they were about to send out some vicious dogs to the people over there. I'll try to read them verbatim here if I could bring it up.
He's always got some kind of entertaining.
This is the House of the People
tweet going on.
Yeah, and he was acting like a dictator. Like it's the king over there.
Sure. King Trump.
Back here.
Well, that was actually one of my messages today when I was at the Manchester Black Lives Matter protest where I was handing out flyers from the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence. My thought was, I will give these flyers to anybody, right? So if there's a large group of people somewhere, I want to bring these flyers out there, especially now with all the unrest going on. And I handed out dozens and dozens, like two pretty large stacks of flyers to folks at this particular event. And one of the ways I was kind of explaining it to people when they would stop and ask, because not everybody asks, they just take the flyer and they go, but sometimes they'll ask, hey, what's this about? And I would say, well, because a lot of one of the chants that you heard at this event was F Trump, right? Except they said the full word. They'd say F Trump. I said, well, you want to F Trump? One of the best ways you can do that is to say goodbye. Just leave end the United States. Let's end this experiment. And a lot of them, they were nodding their head. They thought this was a good idea. So I got a lot of good response from the lefties, just like I got a lot of good response from the righties when I handed the flyers out to them. So people like the idea of ending this experiment.
Greater self-actualization is something that many people can agree on. Now, they don't like it when the other side wants it because they want to control them. But that's really what the whole political process is putting you in this the gerbil wheel so that you can go after the other guy. If you just let the weirdo on the other side of the street act the way they want, so long as they don't hurt other people, then you can have freedom for yourself.
Do we have that Trump tweet pulled up?
Yeah, I got it. It's a couple of different threads, but it'll take me probably 30 seconds to read it all. So he says, this is Donald Trump tweeting here. Great job last night at the White House by the U.S. Secret Service. They were not only totally professional, but very cool. I was inside, watched every move, and couldn't have felt more safe. They let the protesters, in quotes, scream and rant as much as they wanted, but whenever someone got too frisky or out of line, they would quickly come down on them, hard. It didn't know what hit them. The front line was replaced with fresh agents like magic. Big crowd, professionally organized, but nobody came close to breaching the fence. If they had, they would have been greeted with the most vicious dogs and most ominous, whatever that word is, weapons I have ever seen. That's when people would have been really badly hurt, at least.
Release the hounds!
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was talking about Mr. Byrne.
Right.
So
the other presidents have dogs named Sneakers. He's got like Tooth and Fang.
Thanks, Joe, for the call.
Apparently, S is hitting the fan in Seattle. They're imposing a 5 p.m. curfew. Cars are on fire, and people are out.
First heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection?